abduction of Persephone by Hades, and the origin of the seasons. Once upon a time, in the magical world of Greek mythology, there lived a goddess named Persephone. She was not just any goddess, but the daughter of Demeter, the goddess who made the crops grow, and Zeus, the mighty king of the gods. Persephone possessed a beauty that captivated all who saw her, and her joyful spirit was a beacon of light in the divine realm. Her mother cherished her with all her heart, and their bond was unbreakable. Everyone adored Persephone, for her kindness and radiant aura brought happiness to all who crossed her path. One fateful day, Persephone was having a blast playing with her friends. They were all giggling and frolicking around when, out of nowhere, the ground cracked open like a poorly baked cookie. Suddenly, Hades, the god of the underworld, emerged from the depths below. Talk about a party crasher. And guess what? He had the audacity to proclaim that he wanted Persephone as his wife. Can you believe it? Talk about an awkward conversation starter. Poor Persephone was taken aback, and she screamed for help. But alas, there was no one around to witness this crazy turn of events. It was like a moment straight out of a divine soap opera. Persephone's journey to underworld. As Hades swooped down from the depths of the underworld on his magnificent chariot, Persephone's world was instantly shattered. The meadow and her nymph companions disappeared from her sight, replaced by a landscape of pure darkness and gloom. The air grew thick and heavy with the chill of the underworld, sending shivers down Persephone's spine. As they descended further into the abyss, Persephone beheld an array of grotesque and eerie sights. The walls of the underworld seemed to pulse with an otherworldly energy, as if whispering ancient secrets. Cries of lost souls filled the air, tormenting Persephone's ears. Shadows danced and writhed, perpetuating an ever-present sense of foreboding and unease. The underworld itself sprawled out before her like a vast, desolate kingdom. Rivers of Styx and Lethe wound their way through the underworld, their murky waters reflecting the sorrow and despair that permeated every corner of this realm. Shades, the spirits of the deceased, roamed aimlessly, their translucent forms hardly distinguishable in the perpetual darkness. Persephone's heart ached with sorrow and longing for the world she had left behind. She yearned for the warmth of sunlight, the scent of blossoming flowers, and the laughter of her mother. But all of those things were but distant memories, as the underworld offered only an eternity of melancholy. Hades led Persephone through the winding paths of his kingdom, past the somber palace gates, and into his grand yet chilling throne room. Darkness enshrouded everything, broken only by flickering torches casting eerie shadows on the cold stone walls. The throne itself seemed to be made of obsidian, reflecting Persephone's image back at her, a constant reminder of her captive status. Within this foreboding chamber, Hades proclaimed Persephone as his queen. She was to reign by his side, forever separated from the world above. An air of silent desperation hung heavy in the room as Persephone resigned herself to her new fate, knowing that the world would mourn her absence and her mother's heart would ache forevermore. As the news of Persephone's abduction by Hades spread like wildfire, the whole divine realm was in a frenzy. Demeter, being the overprotective mother she was, went full-on mama bear mode. She stormed into Zeus's office, demanding justice and raising her voice so loud that even the thunder god himself had to cover his ears. Zeus, trying to keep the peace, assured Demeter that he would handle the situation. But let's be real here. We all know how Zeus tends to handle things with a lot of thunderbolts and questionable decision-making. So, picture Zeus, sitting on his majestic golden throne, scratching his head desperately, trying to figure out a plan to save Persephone. It was like watching a god-sized version of a classic mind-blown meme. Oh boy, this was going to be one epic rescue mission, and the drama was just getting started. Zeus sent Hermes, his trusty messenger, to the underworld to negotiate Persephone's release from Hades' clutches. Now, this was an intriguing setup. You have Hermes, the charming god of trickery, talking to Hades, the broody lord of the dead, trying to negotiate a deal. Like two used chariot salesmen, one can only imagine the witticisms and sarcastic remarks that were thrown around during this meeting. Maybe Hermes tried to convince Hades to let Persephone go with a classic, "You know what they say, bro, happy wife, happy life." Or perhaps Hades was all like, "Don't bother trying to charm me, Hermes. I'm not that easily fooled. I have a whole army of undead minions at my disposal. Whatever went down, we may never know for sure. But hey, we can always dream up some godly banter and enjoy the show." Meanwhile, back on Mount Olympus, the tension was palpable as the gods and goddesses nervously awaited Hermes' return. It was like waiting for a celestial FedEx package, except instead of ordering the latest togas or divine accessories, they were anxiously awaiting news about their dear Persephone. Each passing moment felt like an eternity, with Zeus pacing back and forth, throwing lightning bolts into the air out of sheer frustration. The other gods attempted to distract themselves by engaging in their usual shenanigans, causing chaos and mischief left and right. Dionysus started mixing cosmos with ambrosia, resulting in some truly outrageous dance parties, while Aphrodite convinced Ares to engage in an impromptu wrestling match just to relieve their tension. The atmosphere was electric, both literally and figuratively, as the divine suspense reached its peak. The fate of Persephone hung in the balance, and the gods were ready to unleash their powers to ensure her safe return. It was a spectacle fit for the heavens, and the grand finale was about to unfold. Finally, after what seemed like an eternity, Hermes returned to Mount Olympus with news that sent ripples of relief throughout the divine realm. Persephone would be freed, if only for a portion of the year. Hades, being the cunning negotiator, had struck a deal with Zeus. For 6 months of the year, Persephone would dwell in the underworld, ruling as the queen of the dead alongside her dark and brooding husband. This time would be known as the bleak and desolate winter months, where nature itself would mourn her absence. However, for the other 6 months, Persephone would return to the realm of the living, bringing with her the vibrant colors and blossoming flowers of spring. It was a compromise that satisfied both sides, and thus the seasons were born. As the gods rejoiced and the mortals marveled, Zeus couldn't help but give Hades a subtle nod of respect. It was a testament to the power of negotiation and the bonds of family, even in the most unexpected of circumstances. And so, the bittersweet tale of Persephone's abduction and return became woven into the tapestry of Greek mythology, reminding us that even in darkness there is always a glimmer of hope, and that love can transcend the boundaries of life and death. Thanks for watching. Feel free to leave a comment below and let us know which Greek myth is your favorite.